Hello guys, and I want to welcome you to Methodology Africa Network with Mr. Benny Well, your number one coach of Forex. Alright? Okay, so now we are getting closer and closer to the interesting stuff. Okay? So you are looking at the typical Forex chart. This is a typical Forex chart. Can get to see Trading View. I told you that Trading View is one of the charting platforms that we use. So this is a typical Forex chart. Alright, so now you are noticing some red and white stuff. These things are called Japanese candles. Japanese candles. What do? They tell us the story of the movement of price. That's what they do. That's the basic thing they do. They tell us the story of the movement of price. That means that if you can read the story that price movement is telling you, you can be able to predict how it is going to end. Alright? So this helps us to know who is in control of price and who is losing control of price and where they are likely to lose control of price. Remember, the forex market is a constant ongoing battle between bears and bulls, between sellers and buyers. And as a forex trader or as a fund manager who is participating in the forex market, your job is to be able to identify the places where buyers will take control of price so that you join them, or identify the places where sellers will take control of price so that you join them. Your job is to join the winning team. Alright? So if you can read the story of price, you can tell where price or those who are in control are going to lose steam and where the other people are going to take control of price. So that's the basic thing that happens. So we use what we call Japanese candlesticks. This stuff here, they are called Japanese candlesticks. We use them to help us to make those decisions and to help us to appreciate what is going on. So let's get started to learning how to use this stuff. All right. Number one. So you are looking at two candles. You are looking at two candles. You are looking at the green candle and you are looking at the red candle. The green candle stands for what? Buyers. Green stands for buyers. Red stands for what? Sellers. Or sometimes people use black for sellers, white for buyers. Alright? The candle color is up to you. You can choose what works for you. But we just advise that you stick to this green and red or the black and white. Alright? So the green is for buyers. Red is for sellers. How do you know if this is a buying candle or is a bullish candle? Alright, how do you know that? It is all about what buyers do. One of the characteristics of buyers is that they drive price up. They drive price up. Just like in our normal market, when there is demand for something, when everybody is buying something, the chances that the price of the thing will appreciate is very high. So when buyers are a lot in the market, the price of an asset goes up. Okay, so that is what buyers do. So when you look at this candle on your left, all right, this candle, as you can see, we have low, we have open, we have close, we have high. So where you are seeing the green, we call it the body of the candle, the body of the candle. And this line you see over here is called the wick. This here is called the wick. These are the upper wick. This is the lower wick. So this point over here, that is the lowest point that this candle came to. The lowest point is called the low. The highest point it came to is called the high. So where did this candle open? Because it was like a baby that grew up. So this is where it opened. So the open price is here. It opened here and it went up. So that's how come we were able to know that it is a bullish candle. It's a buying candle because it went up. And that is what buyers do. Buyers drive price where? Up. Buyers drive price up. So anytime price opens at the down and closes at the top, we say that buyers have dominated that candle's life. Alright? So it opened here and closed here. So you must be able to tell what story this candle is telling you. And everything comes into play. the wick, the body, the wick, everything comes into play. So let's look at it. What does the wick tell you? The wick is also called shadow. What does it tell you? It tells you that in the life of this candle, there was an attempt to bring the price here, okay, but then it was an unsuccessful attempt, and it didn't work. Alongside, there was an attempt to bring price here, and it was an unsuccessful attempt that didn't work. So, from what I said, buyers drive price up. Okay, that means that anytime price is going up, it is buyers that are in control of the life of that candle, or are in control of the movement of that price. So when you look at this, price open here, and buyers move the price up to the go here, but then they couldn't maintain their dominance. It was an unsuccessful attempt. They couldn't maintain their dominance, and they closed over here. All right, so that's what buyers do. They move price up. So what of this one? Sellers. That takes us to sellers. What sellers do is that they drive price down. Buyers drive price up. Sellers drive price down. Can you see that? So where did it open? It opened at the top. You see where it opened, and it closes down. So they drive price down. That's what sellers do. They drive price down. So this week that we have here is telling us, all right, that at the open of this candle's life, all right, which is over here, sellers drove the price down, and they came here, okay, but they couldn't sustain the control, so they lost control over this place, and that's how come we have the wick. The wick only tells us an unsuccessful attempt. Do you understand that? So that's the basic thing about this. This is a wick, this is a shadow. So this is telling us that what? Buyers are in control of price, sellers are in control of price, and we are going to look into further stuff now. All right. So here we go. I want you to look at this candle that is marked over here, and let's try and analyze the candle. This candle is a black candle, and it is a bearish candle. All right, that candle. So if it's bearish, it means that sellers were in control of price. So what happens? They open a price at the top. Remember what I said about sellers? They drive price down. So they open at the top and they drove it down. So this candle opened here and they drove it down. All right? It opened here and they drove it down. Now, put that at the back of your mind. So this is selling pressure. Selling pressure. Now, when we come here, we look at this candle. What we are seeing now is that this candle opened here, all right, and sellers drove the price down. They dominated the price. Look at the long shadow that we have, but they couldn't maintain dominance. They couldn't maintain control. So it was an unsuccessful attempt. And what happened? Buyers came in. They drove the price up a little bit with a small body. So what tells you? It tells you that sellers tried, they did their best, but they couldn't. That means that buyers are in a market and there is a struggle. The general story that this candle is telling us is that price is undecided, but sellers are losing steam. You see how I'm reading it? Price open here. When you open, sellers came in and drove the price down. Look at the dominance. Look at the territory that they took control of. But by the time this candle closes, buyers came in. Remember what buyers do? They drive price up. They drove the price up and took over all the territory that sellers have taken. And they were able to gain a new territory. So this overall tells me that sellers are struggling. As you can see, sellers are struggling. And buyers are coming into the market. So sellers are struggling, buyers are coming to the market. Let's look at this one. Let's look at this one. What do you see? At the open of this candle's life, which is over here, it opens here. Now, here. Sellers drove the price down. They were in control of price down. they couldn't maintain their territory. They couldn't maintain their dominance. So buyers came in, drove the price up a little bit to here. What happens? Sellers still have control of some part of the territory, but it is an unconvincing control. It is not convincing enough. Like this one too is not convincing. Though buyers are in control of price, it's not a very convincing control. Sellers are also in control of price here, but it's not a convincing control. So you can see that these two candles tell us that sellers are losing control. So when you see candles like this, it's telling you a story. So you must be able to read the story that it is telling you. It is telling that sellers are losing control of price. Why? Because when it opened, they were in control. When it opens here, for this one open here, they were in control of price, but they lost all the territory that they got. Look at this one to control of price. They lost all the territory, and it closes with a small body. Look at the body over here. The body over here is small, and because the body is small, it is an unconvincing. It's not convincing enough that sellers are in complete control of price. So this is a struggling selling pressure. You can tell that sellers are struggling over here. So it's likely that buyers may be wanting to come into the market. All right. So let's look at this candle as well. What do you see? This is a bullish, heavy buying candle. All right. So this heavy buying, what happens? Price opens low and goes up. Remember what I said about buying? They drive price up. So price opens here and they drove the price up. So who is in control of this price? Buyers. Why? Because they have controlled all these territories and they are in charge now. But what happens? Look at what happens now. Let's look at this candle. Right? This candle right here. So price opens at the low over here. Buyers drove the price up. Wow. What a dominance. But they couldn't sustain the dominance and the control of price. And because of that, sellers came in and drove the price down over here. So as you can see, this is telling you that what is happening? Buyers are losing steam. They are losing control. They are gradually losing control. Though they have a small body, this body is not a convincing sign that buyers are in control. So we can say that there is an indecision here. Indecision. They are struggling. When you look at this one too, price opens here. Buyers drove the price up, but they couldn't maintain. And so price gradually came down and sellers took control. They took control until they were able to get themselves some small territory. So as you can see, what is happening? Buyers were making an attempt, but it was an unsuccessful attempt. So this helps me to be able to read and predict what is likely to happen in the market. So when I see this candle like this, I know that buyers are losing control of price. It doesn't mean that buyers have lost complete control, but it tells me that buyers are gradually losing control of price. And this one, buyers are losing control of price, and sellers are beginning to come in. All right. So with this, I can make some financial decisions. All right. Let's look at one more thing, which is this. All right. So let's look at it now. So bullish and bearish strength, that's what we are looking at. When you look at this, I've decided to blend this one so that it won't confuse you. All right. Now, we have, this is a bullish candle. Bullish means that buying, where does it start from? It starts from low and it goes up. Buyers drive price up. So it starts from here and goes up. All right. So this is a very complete dominance from buyers. So if I'm reading the story of this candle, I'll say that at the opening of the life of this candle, buyers took complete control of price till it closed. So this tells me that buyers are in the market big time. Okay, they are in charge of affairs now. All right, this candle tells me that buyers are in charge of affairs now. Listen, you don't have to memorize all these things in your head. You just have to learn the psychology and the concept behind it. And that's all. You can read the story and it becomes easy. So I encourage you to watch the video over and over and over and over again. So let's look at the second candle that we have here. This candle, we are looking at this candle now. So what you are seeing here is price opens here. Buyers drove the price up to this level, but sellers came in and drove the price down a little bit. So they took over a little portion of their territory. All right. But when you look at this candle, generally, who do you think is in control of price? Buyers. Because this body is big enough. Buyers are in control of price. You see? So the first candle, buyers were in complete control of price. Here, buyers are still in control of price. They are controlling price about 80%. They are 80% in control of price. So we can say that buyers, are in control of price. Let's look at the third candle we have here. Price opens here. Buyers drove the price up. But what happens? Sellers brought the price down. They brought it down. They brought it down. They brought it down. So buyers lost control of all that land, all this territory. And now what do we have? We have this body. So over here we can say that buyers are in control of price though, but it is a 35 to 40% control of price. This is not a convincing one, but we can say that buyers are in control of price, and they are going. We can predict that it's likely buyers may start struggling in no time. So you see how the story goes. I'm just reading. I want to know, why are we doing this? We want to know when buyers are in control and when they are struggling, so that we know when to join them and when not to join them. You understand? So let's look at this fourth candle. All right. What we see here, where does price open? This is a buying candle. So price opens here. They drove the price up. Right? Okay. But they couldn't maintain the pressure. So sellers drove it down. But actually how it happened is this. At the opening of the life of this candle, sellers drove the price down. So let me use my distance to. So candle opens here. Sellers drove the price down. So for this moment, sellers were in control of the price, but they couldn't maintain their dominance. And what happens? Buyers come in and they take control of this territory and push the price up. So now buyers are in control. 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 Buyers are in control of price, and they drove the price to the high over here. But what happens? Buyers too couldn't maintain the dominance, and they brought the price down. So though we can say buyers are in control of price, we can tell that there is a struggle going on between buyers and sellers. Though for this one, we can say buyers overall, they are dominating price. So why are we reading this thing? We want to know the purpose is we want to know who is in control of price and who is losing steam, who is struggling. Because the guy who is struggling is likely to lose dominance. So we are going to join the one who is not struggling. You understand? So this one we have here. Look at this one now. Let's start. Price opens here. Sellers move the price down. They control price down. They couldn't maintain. So buyers came in and they also drew the price up. They couldn't. Sellers came in. So as you can see, they are struggling. They don't know who to take control of price. So what's happening? This is complete struggle. Price is undecided. None of them is in control of price. It's undecided. So this is a neutral candle. An indecisive candle. That's what we have here. All right? So that's what's happening. Now, this black we have here is what? Bearish candles. Selling candles. And it tells us the same thing. Let's start from here. So price starts from here. Remember what sellers do? They drive price down. They do the price down. So sellers were in control of price. Over here, they do the price down. Or to here, to this level. They couldn't maintain, and buyers came in to recover some of their territory. And what happens? Sellers are still in control of price. So this is telling you story. So as you can see, this is a strong bearish candle, strong bearish candle. This is 100% strength. This is about 80% strength. This is about 40% strength. This is about, let's say, 50% strength. And this one is undecided. And the same thing happens to these guys too. All right? So let's go to the chart and see if we can understand this. Now, before we go there, I want you to get rid of all this stuff you have here. When you go on the internet, they have all these names. You have to learn them. Please and please and please. It's not necessary. What is most important is for you to know what they mean. What they mean. You don't need to know, quote the names into your head, Doji and Dragonfly, Doji, Gravestone, Doji. All these are not necessary. What is the most important thing? Learn how to read the story they are telling you. Okay? So when you look at this, what they call white candlestick, what is happening? Buyers took control of price. So we can say that buyers are in control of this candle, sellers are in control of this candle. When you look here, this thing over here, what does it tell you? It tells you that there is indecision. So there's a struggling. They are not yet decided who will take control of price. So this is a 50-50 chance. So this indecision. What of this one too? This is indecision, right? That's indecision. What of this one? This is an interesting candle, right? It tells you that at the open of this candle, what happens? Sellers drove the price down. They couldn't maintain the pressure, and buyers came in and drove the price up. But it closed where it opened. So sellers are struggling. That's what it tells you. Sellers are struggling. Over here, what is happening? Buyers are struggling. Why? Because buyers moved the price up. They couldn't maintain the pressure, and it brought it down. What's happening? Buyers are struggling. What is happening here? Buyers are struggling, right? And sellers are coming to the market. What is happening here? Sellers are struggling because they tried to move the price here. They couldn't. And what's happening? Buyers are beginning to come into the market. This is a complete dominance from where? Buyers. Complete dominance from where? Sellers. And this is what they call the spinning top or whatever. So you just need to go to read the story and you are good to go. All right? So guys, that's basically about that. Please just... yeah. So, I will see you on the other side. Stay blessed.